Hello and welcome back to class. For those of you new here, I'm Tati. For those of you who've practiced with me before, welcome back. Today's class is going to be a little bit more energetic, and it's special in the sense that I've actually pulled all of the poses that we'll be doing in this class randomly out of a deck of cards, and each card has a different pose on it. So this one is randomly chosen. I've been meaning to film this since the summer, which is about half a year ago, but we're filming it today, and I really hope that you enjoy the creative sequences of these randomly chosen poses. You won't need any props for today. If you do usually practice with a block, it might come in useful, and all you need is your mat, comfortable clothes, and a quiet place to practice. If you haven't already subscribed, please go ahead and click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more content. I release new videos every Sunday. And with that, I'd say let's get started, as usual, in a comfortable cross-legged position on our mat. If you like to lift the hips up a bit, you can sit on a block or cushion, relaxing the hands on the knees, and just closing down the eyes for a moment. Tuning into the body, taking a nice nourishing deep breath in through the nose and exhale out through the mouth with a sigh. Inhale another nice deep breath in and exhale out through the mouth. Blink open the eyes, and from here we're going to get started straight away, drawing big circles with the spine. So you're going to lean forward and then to one side, rounding your spine as you come back, and then bend into the elbows coming forward. And you can go as fast or as slow as you like here. You don't even have to bend particularly far on your way forward or backwards. Just gently starting to feel that rotation in the lower spine, warming up the joints in the hips and the vertebrae of the spine. And the next time you come to the front, switching directions and drawing those big circles in the opposite direction. And today's class will start a bit stretchy, and then we'll be flowing through some stronger poses. So a lot of these are focused on vinyasa, a flowed style of yoga. Slowly bringing the circle to a close and finding a straight spine. Inhale, sweeping the arms up towards the thigh, bringing the palms to heart center, placing left hand onto right knee. Right hand can rest on the hip or placing it behind you. So inhale, pressing into those right fingertips, really finding length from the bottom of the spine all the way to the tip of the crown, and then spiraling your chest over towards the right side. You can either gaze to the right or over the right shoulder. And there's a little trick that the further you look back, so the further you look towards the right side, the more you're actually able to twist. Exhale, gently release, placing the right hand onto the left knee, left hand on left hip, or floating those fingertips behind you. Inhale to lengthen the spine, and exhale, twisting the chest open towards the left side. Gazing towards the left or over your left shoulder. Feeling the opening across your chest, the spiraling action in your lower spine and abdomen. And exhale, releasing here, just taking a few rolls of your shoulders. So rolling them in one direction and then changing direction. Rolling out the wrists. So you can either have the hands separate like I'm doing now, or you can interlace the fingers and draw these little wiggly worms with your wrists. Listening out if maybe there's some cracks and pops in your wrists. Just warming up those wrist joints. Changing direction. And releasing, finding your way all the way onto your back. So rounding the spine and rolling yourself down, finding onto your back, straightening out the left leg and hugging the right knee in towards the chest. So the whole spine is making contact with the earth, the back of the head is resting on the earth. If this doesn't quite work, you can always bend your left knee. And then maybe it feels good to rock that right knee just very gently from left to right. And then from here, you can stay here or you can straighten out the right leg. And you can always keep a bend in the right knee. It doesn't have to be completely straight. Holding onto the outside of the right thigh, maybe just in that nook by the knee. Or maybe coming up, walking the hands up the calf muscle. Or maybe it's within your flexibility to grasp the hold of the big right toe. So finding into your flamingo pose here. Breathing in. And wherever you are, letting the shoulders sink heavy towards the earth. If you need to, you can hold both hands around one leg, otherwise just gently resting the left hand on the mat. And exhale from here, just slightly bending into the right knee and then opening the right leg over towards the right side. So this might mean automatically that your left hip lifts up off the mat, in which case just slightly walking that right foot closer towards the midline. Maybe this now means that you have to let go of your leg completely. Otherwise, holding onto the right foot and opening up towards the right side. As you can see, I can't quite get my foot to reach the ground. That's fine, it'll just hover. And I use my left hand on the mat to help sink the left hip down towards the earth. We're just here for one more breath, breathing in. And exhale, bending the right knee, hugging it back into the chest, bringing the left knee to meet, and then just gently rocking from side to side. So just releasing, taking a note of the different sensations in the left hip versus the right hip. Before moving on to the other side, so straightening that right leg down along the mat. So option to keep the knee bent with the foot flat on the mat. Breathing in and hugging that left knee close. Maybe rocking gently from left to right. And then inhale, straightening the left leg up towards the sky as straight as you can go. You can keep a nice deep bend if you need to. Holding the thigh, the calf, or clasping the left big toe with the left fingertips resting right on the mat. And you might notice that this side is more flexible or less flexible than the other side. So not passing any judgment here, just noticing how your body feels. And it's completely normal for our left and right halves of our body to not be completely equal. We use our body for different things in different ways. Maybe you're holding onto the toe and then you feel actually, I'd like to back out a bit. So feeling into what your body needs. Exhale, slight bend in the left knee and then moving that left leg over towards the left side. Running out of space here. Either holding onto the left toe, trying to keep that right hip down on the mat. It can help to actually just place your right hand on the right hip, right shoulder on the mat. Or simply bending the left knee, placing it on the mat and walking it closer. And exhale, gently release, bringing both knees into the chest, and then rocking from side to side, holding the inside of the knees, and then you're going to roll up and down along the spine. So really rounding the spine as much as possible. If this doesn't feel comfortable, you can skip this bit and simply finding it to a standing position. Otherwise, rolling back and forth and using the momentum to come all the way up into a standing position. And once you're in your standing position at the top of the mat, finding mountain pose, big toe touching, heels are slightly apart, hands resting alongside the body, letting the shoulders draw back and away from the ears, breathing deeply. And inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, folding forward, finding into your forward fold. Inhale, finding a halfway lift, fingertips on the mat or on the shins. So really finding a nice flat spine. Exhale, place the palms on the mat, step back into a high lunge position, pressing the floor away with the fingers, shoulders, and then lowering the knees, chest and chin all the way down to the belly. Inhale, peeling the chest open, finding into baby cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes, rolling over the knees, downward facing dog. Pedaling out your down dog here, breathing 1 and 2, and a third breath in. Inhale, gazing forward, bend the knees, walk, step or hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, finding a halfway lift. And exhale, fold it forward. Inhale, rising all the way up. Inhale, sitting down in your chair pose, sinking the hips down, arms reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, step or hop back to a high plank position, pressing the floor away, nice strong core. Exhale, lower the knees or keeping them up off the mat, chaturanga. Inhale, baby cobra or high cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Rooting through the hands and the feet. Inhale, finding your way to the front of the mat, halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, sweeping the arms up, sitting down in your chair pose, breathing in. You've got this. Maybe lifting the heels up off the mat, so sitting the bum low, coming onto the toes, breathing in. We're here for 3, 2, and 1. Lowering the feet back onto the mat, flat feet, and exhale, folding forward. Whew, good job. Inhale, walking the feet hip width distance apart now, and then taking the second and third finger, wrapping them around your big toe. So maybe that means you need to take a nice deep bend into your knees, and then starting to work on straightening your legs while at the same time the elbows come out to the side. So like little wings opening up, and that will help pull your upper body towards your thigh. So the belly draws towards the thigh first, and then the rest of the body draws down. Finding into Padangusthasana. Releasing the fingers, either staying here or walking the hands underneath the feet. So the bottom of your foot is resting on the inside of your hand, so on your palm, and the big toes are just touching the crease of your wrist. Again, keep a nice deep bend in the beginning, and then slowly work on straightening your legs. Elbows come out, finding into Padangusthasana. And exhale, releasing. Inhale, finding a halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, step it back into a high plank, flowing through your vinyasa. Inhale, finding your back bend of choice. Cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, walk or step to the front of the mat, finding a halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, rising all the way up into a mountain pose. And from here, we're going to be balancing. So I'm just coming to face you this way, bringing the weight onto the right foot. Inhale, lifting the left knee up towards the chest, hands on the hips. Breathing here, finding your point of steady gaze. So looking at something just in front of you, which isn't moving, to help with your balance. And then from here, you can either stay where you are or you can start on working to straighten that left leg. So straightening out as far as you can, holding it, engaging the core muscles, the glute muscles, keeping a smile on that face. Breathing in, hugging the left knee back into the chest. And then exhale, bending the right knee, sweeping that left foot back and finding into your flying warrior pose. Inhale here, lifting the left foot just a little bit higher. And exhale, releasing back into mountain pose, and then just shaking out the hands and the legs. Finding a still mountain and just rooting through all 10 toes, maybe closing the eyes. And sensing how much easier it is to stand on both feet. Inhale, shifting the weight into the left foot, hugging your right knee into the right chest. So pulling that knee nice and close. Maybe there's a little bend in the left knee, that's also completely fine. Breathing in here. And exhale, maybe starting on working to straighten that right leg out in front of you. Hands on hips, right toes pointing up. Don't worry if you wobble in and out of the pose, you can come straight back in. The more we practice, the better we get. One more breath here. Keep a smile on your face. And then hugging the knee back into the chest, giving a tight squeeze. Bending the left knee and then floating that right leg behind you, hands in prayer pose, and finding into your flying warrior. Pressing the right foot towards the back of the mat. And exhale, stepping back, shaking out the arms and the legs. Finding mountain, inhale, sweeping the arms up. And exhale, hands come to heart space in a prayer position. Walking the feet mat width distance, heels in, toes out. And then sinking the hips down towards the mat. So you're coming into yogi squat. Don't worry if the heels are up off the mat. Maybe you need to place the hands in front of you for support. So finding what you need here. And from your yogi squat, just simply dropping the bum down towards the mat and coming straight into both pose. Holding the inside edges of the knees, finding a nice straight spine, opening the chest. And you can stay here, or maybe you'd like to challenge yourself. Open the arms up alongside the legs. Or maybe working on straightening the legs up towards the sky. Wherever you are, remembering to breathe. Can be a bit tricky on these more challenging asanas. And exhale, release, crossing the legs and finding your way to a cross-leg position, bottoms of the feet to touch, and then bouncing out the knees, finding into butterfly legs. Just feeling into the sensation in the body. Maybe your feet need a little squeeze after all of those balancing poses. And finding stillness, stretching the left leg out to the side. Heel on the mat, big toes, actually all of the toes pointing up. Right foot comes to the inside of the left thigh. And you can stay here, or you can start to walk the left hand towards the left foot. Right hand can rest on the hip, maybe drawing that right arm up and overhead. Gazing up if you want a bit of an added challenge, otherwise looking down towards the mat. Exhale, release, and from here squaring the hips towards the left leg. So really think about rotating both hips towards the front. Inhale, finding a nice flat back. Inhale the arms, and then exhale, leaning forward. And maybe your hands land somewhere near your thigh or on the mat. That's completely fine. We don't want to compromise our straight lower spine. So not rounding. The point isn't to get your face towards your leg. It's actually to first get the belly towards the thigh. So you're dropping from the belly, and then maybe the hands come down, holding onto the foot and working your way down towards the thigh. But remember, in yoga, just give it your best where you are today. You don't have to do anything, and maybe one day you're more flexible, and then another day you're feeling like you actually just want to ease out of it. So always honor your body. If you are holding onto your foot, you can also wrap the hands, interlace them and wrap them around the left foot. Inhale, slowly walking yourself back up, bringing the left leg in and straightening out the right foot. Right toes are active, left foot comes to the inside of the right thigh, and then sliding the right hand down the right leg, left hand on the left hip to spiral the chest open towards the sky, and maybe floating. Slowly coming out of the pose, squaring your hips over towards the right leg now, finding a nice tall spine, arms sweep up, and exhale, folding from the lower spine. Belly comes towards the thigh first, wherever the hands land, that's where they land. Maybe for you today they come to the foot. And then inhale, lengthen the spine, and with the exhalation, letting yourself melt a little deeper into the pose. If you are holding onto your foot today, maybe you'd like to challenge yourself to interlace the fingers and wrap them around the foot. Perhaps noticing if one side feels easier or more difficult than the other. And using your exhale to let yourself sink a little deeper into the pose. Inhale, slowly coming up out of the pose, stretching out the left leg and just giving both legs a little shake. And then rolling down onto your back And here you have options. You can either find into legs up the wall pose, so just resting the legs up against the wall or stretching them up towards the sky. Maybe that's your inversion for today. I would definitely recommend doing this if you have got any neck or back issues, then rather stay here. But if you would like to follow the traditional finishing sequence in our vinyasa flow, we're going to go from a shoulder stand over into a plow pose, and then if it is in your practice, you can find ear pressure pose. But again, please only do this if you are comfortable practicing with it. Always keep your chin slightly tucked, so don't look around while you're in these poses. And I will see you on the other side. So option now to take shoulder stand for 5 breaths, plow pose for 5 breaths, ear pressure pose for 5 breaths, or you can simply come into this pose. So if you are coming into shoulder stand, shifting the hips up, toes stretched towards the sky. And then coming out of the pose, finding into fish pose, so legs stretch out in front of you, either coming up onto the arms, so hands and then opening up the chest like this, or you can come to lie, shimmy the forearms underneath the bum, so pressing the bottoms of the hands into the mat, and then pressing all of the weight into your forearms and your elbows, slowly lifting yourself up. And the crown of the head just very gently maybe touches the ground, but we're not dumping any weight in the head. Feeling that opening up across the throat. This is a really good pose to stimulate your thyroid gland. Exhale, releasing. Hugging the knees into the chest, giving yourself a loving embrace. And taking any final movements or poses that you would like before we find our way into Shavasana. Stretching the arms and legs away from the body, palms facing up. Closing the eyes. And letting all of the tension melt away, feeling your whole body held by the earth. And resting now in the most important pose in our yoga practice, your Shavasana. Inhale, slowly start to deepen the breath. Wriggling the fingers and the toes, inviting some gentle movement back into the body. Giving yourself a nice full body stretch. And hugging the knees into the chest. Taking a moment to notice how you feel now at the end of practice. And then gently finding your way into a comfortable seated position, keeping the eyes closed. Resting the hands on the knees. Inhale, sweeping the arms up, palms to touch. The prayer to heart space. Bowing the gaze. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing today. I really hope that you enjoyed this class, which was made out of randomly chosen poses. Thank you so much for being subscribed. I can't believe how big our community is growing. It really means so much to me to know that there's so many of you here on YouTube practicing. If you would like to pop by on Instagram, it's at Tati Yoga, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon. All my love.